Hey guys, it's Chris. From a hunter crushed by an elephant to a man slapped in the face by an angry fish, here are 10 animals that got some much-deserved revenge on humans. Number 10. Big game hunted. Thenouis Botha is a well-known big game hunter from South Africa. In fact, at least he was until just recently when he got squashed to death by an angry elephant. Botha was leading a small group of hunters in Zimbabwe when they came upon a group of breeding elephants. Keep in mind here that elephants aren't stupid. When they see humans and guns, they know something's going down. This was some premeditated revenge on the part of the elephants. They sensed the danger and charged at the hunters. Imagine the horror the hunters must have felt when they saw a group of 13,000-pound elephants running towards them. Botha shot at the incoming animals, but he wasn't quick enough and one of them got him in the side. The elephant then lifted Botha with her powerful trunk. One of the other hunters in the party shot at the elephant, and when the elephant collapsed, she fell onto Botha, crushing him with her weight. He died instantly. And as much as people like to celebrate these kinds of revenge scenarios, keep in mind that Botha left behind a wife and 5 children, according to the Daily Mail. The family lost a husband and a father. Sure, he was notorious for hunting lions and leopards. He definitely got some serious karma by being crushed by an elephant, but he was still a human being. Number 9. Kangaroo attacks. On Christmas Day of all days, a father in Australia was punched in the face by an angry kangaroo and then kicked to the ground. The giant marsupial was simply trying to hang out in the guy's front lawn and dig up a couple of holes. Really, the kangaroo was just minding its own business. But then the father came out of his house and tried to make the kangaroo go away. Apparently, the animal didn't really feel like it, and to take out its revenge on the rude human disturbing its digging activities, it hopped straight at him and unleashed a furious ultimate punch. The family of the man even caught video footage of this scary but kinda hilarious incident. The kangaroo was visibly enormous with its big, muscular chest puffed out. It looked like an animal boxer. And the father didn't suffer any injuries from the brazen attack, and the kangaroo hopped away and made its escape. In the end, everyone was okay. The kangaroo probably went off to dig its holes in someone else's front yard, and I'm sure the next time the father might approach the situation a little differently. Number 8. Angry cougar. A cyclist was recently killed by an angry cougar after trying to scare the animal. As you might already know, animals don't really enjoy when people try to frighten them. 2 mountain bikers were going down a trail east of Seattle when they noticed the mountain lion chasing them. They thought the best course of action was to get off their bikes and face the animal and then shout at it until it went away. But instead of going away, the cougar was enraged by the cyclist's attempts to scare it off, so it attacked them. The cougar pounced on the bikers. One of the cyclists hit the cougar with their bike and it ran off into the forest. But this cougar wasn't done with them yet. As they stood bewildered trying to catch their breath, the cougar came back for its revenge. It ambushed them out of nowhere and bit one of the cyclists right on his head. This is according to the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife Police. The second cyclist ran off in fear while the cougar finished off his friend. To complete its revenge, the cougar even dragged the guy back to its den and feasted on him. There are roughly about 2,000 cougars in the Washington state, and up until the 1960s, the state paid hunters a bounty for killing them. Now the state allows 250 to be hunted in the 50 designated zones. Cougars are known to kill pets and livestock, but encounters with people in Washington are pretty rare. This insane attack was the first cougar fatality in Washington state in over 94 years. Number 7. No more burgers. Greg Nolan was recently the victim of a crazed and possibly psychotic cow. The angry bovine cornered Nolan and tried to headbutt him to death in its stall. But this was only the first attack. Following the initial headbutting incident, the angry cow attacked Nolan yet again. She got him on the ground and broke every last rib on the side of his body except one, even puncturing his lungs and destroying his spleen. Nolan was basically murdered by his cow. The only reason he's still alive is that his friend got between him and the animal. Nolan's friend then rushed him to the ICU, where he spent 2.5 weeks recovering. There's been no motive given for the cow's attack. She could have been angry about something Nolan did to her, or maybe she just didn't want to be turned into a cheeseburger or her baby's milk given away. Whatever the case, Nolan is still caring for this murderous cow to this day, despite its murderous tendencies. What do you think that cow's motives were? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Number 6. Crow vengeance. A man in India was recently on the wrong side of a flock of crows. Shiva Kiwat was forced to carry a stick with him every time he stepped out of his home because a murder of irritated crows would swoop down at him and try to peck his eyes out. He had to scare the crows away from his home and keep the stick with him whenever he went out walking. Talk about watching your back, and kind of your front, and kind of all around you too. But why were these crows so determined to terrorize Shiva? Well, it all started 3 years prior when he discovered a crow chick stuck in a nest near his house. When he tried to save the baby crow, it died in his hands. It wasn't his fault. Unfortunately for him, the crows witnessed the entire thing, and they must have blamed him for the death of their chick. And as you might already know, crows have intense memories and are able to recognize human faces. They also practice revenge. Ever since that incident, all the crows in the neighborhood have targeted Kiwat in an almost daily basis. He even has scars from their merciless attacks. And the poor guy was just trying to help. Number 5. Cat payback. A woman named Max from the small town of Melvin, Michigan was the victim of feline revenge. She apparently tried to defend her dog from being brutally attacked by a stray cat that she had recently adopted. The cat absolutely hated the dog and tried to kill it. To defend the helpless little pup, Max kicked snow at the cat's face. Well, the cat didn't like that at all. The cat then turned its attention from the dog to Max herself, leaping onto the woman's head and sinking its teeth into her forehead. The cat scratched apart Max's face and bit her several times, causing serious injuries. The entire incident was even captured on a surveillance video and uploaded to YouTube. If you've ever seen the video of the woman kicking snow in the cat's face only for the cat to leap on her head, well, this is that story. Max was rushed to the hospital after the brutal attack by her adopted cat. She even came down with an infection that caused her face to deform. It would be a long time before she ever recovered. And in the end, Max had to euthanize this violent cat. So does that make you second-guess adopting any stray cats? I wonder if she's ever cared for any wandering felines again. Number 4. Slapped by a fish. A fisherman was recently slapped in the face by a fish. It's pretty rare that a fish ever gets a chance at that revenge, and yet when the fisherman caught a giant carp and held it up in both hands to get photographed, the enormous fish launched itself into action. It flailed its body and managed to slap its tail across the fisherman's face, momentarily stunning him. The guy nearly dropped his massive trophy fish back into the water. The slap didn't really cause any damage, but it definitely wiped the smug look off his face. What's even more hilarious is that the guy's friend told him never to touch the tail of a fish, but he didn't listen to reason, yanking at the fish's tail as he tried to pose for a photograph, and this earned him a great big fishy slap. Has this ever happened to you? Number 3. The best revenge. This one almost makes me cry, so brace yourself. An adorable dog recently got the best revenge that any animal can ask for. But its road to salvation was paved with hardship. It all started when a very sweet dog in the Ukraine was abandoned by its owners. The dog was left outside of a gas station while its owners drove away, leaving it there to fend for itself. What kind of person does that? As you can likely imagine, the dog was absolutely heartbroken. He waited for 3 weeks at the gas station for his family to return, but they never did. The little black dog was destitute. But then the dog met a woman named Elena Razenkova. Elena was an animal lover and immediately recognized that the sad little dog was in a dire situation. She took the dog home with her, gave him lots of food, gave him a nice bath, and cared for him as best as she could. The dog was named Loki. He recovered quite quickly, and his mood improved dramatically. The best revenge for Loki was to live a great life, something his stupid owners obviously couldn't give him. And last we heard, Loki was doing well and waiting to be adopted by a loving forever home. Number 2. Leopard retribution. In more brutal news, a leopard recently got retribution by killing a man who took part in killing the cat's mate. It all happened in India, when a crew of gang members were brewing illegal alcohol in the forest. There were 4 members of the gang camping out in an area that they probably didn't realize was full of wild animals. I don't know how they didn't think any creatures could be nearby, but whatever. One of the members noticed something moving nearby in a bush. He took out his gun and fired at the disruption. It turned out to be a leopard. The guy shot a leopard dead, then watched as its terrified mate ran off into the jungle. And it would be several days later, during another session of illegal brewing, that the leopard came back to seek revenge. The gang was moving to a new spot inside the nature reserve when the original member who had shot the leopard days before stopped to take a break. The others went on without him, but he never showed up. When they backtracked to the place where he'd been seen last, they found him gone in a trail of blood leading deep into the forest. The rest of the gang ran into the woods just in time to see a leopard dragging away their friend. They screamed and hollered. The leopard dropped the guy and ran off. But by the time they reached him, he was already half dead. They tried rushing him to the hospital, but he died on the way. It's not clear how long the leopard had been stalking them, but it's safe to say that this was a premeditated murder. And can you blame the leopard? The guy did shoot and kill the love of his life right in front of him. Number 1. No more fighting. A rooster has brutally stabbed to death its owner in a shocking and probably incidental case of revenge. It happened at a cockfight in India. The guy was 45-year-old Thanojula Satish Good, and he decided it would be a great idea and a good advantage for the rooster if he tied a huge blade, a 3-inch knife known as a caddy cathy, to the leg of the rooster for the illegal fight to come. The knife was attached, and everything was going normally, but when the owner tried to put the rooster into the ring, it flailed its legs and stabbed the man in the groin with the knife. Ouch! Turned out not to be such a good idea after all. This is what local police told the Times of India. The man was cut so deeply that he was literally gushing blood out of his groin. By the time he reached the hospital, he was declared dead. He was literally stabbed to death by his own rooster. And can you really be mad at the bird? It was undoubtedly sick of being used in barbaric backroom cockfights. Thanks for watching. Did these people deserve their fates? Can you think of any other animals that get revenge on humans? Has an animal ever gotten any revenge on you? Let me know in the comments below, and then be sure to hit that subscribe button for more videos like this one. We'll see you next time.